Welcome to match week 2, or just match 2 when it comes to the salty takeaway. It is Nick, it is Jarrett, it is John. 2/3 of us are still at Mercedes-Benz Stadium as we discuss this. The third member of the crew has escaped Mercedes-Benz Stadium and is in his office. Good evening, gentlemen, after a 3-1 win.
Yeah, it was absolutely
What are we still
just a
here?
fantastic bit of business tonight from Atlanta United. I know we're supposed to be salty in these, so do I need to be the person who? I'll start off being bitter. I'll be the bitter bad guy to start.
Wow. Okay.
Never underestimate the ability of pro officials to completely slow down and stall a match in its entirety. It was the officiating tonight, in my opinion, was just abysmal. You have Atlanta United players getting hacked down left and right, and there may be individuals from other markets who listen to this and go, "Of course, it's an Atlanta United show. They're Atlanta United centric. They're going to call it want things called the home team's way." Sure. But I think it was beyond ridiculous tonight. It felt like the Atlanta United players had to be rugby tackled, and in order to get any sort of call. And if an Atlanta United player even went for the ball, it felt like there was a foul called and a free kick and a card, and it was a cornucopia of poor decisions. But I think in the first half for Atlanta United, the nerves were there. This was not Marcelino Moreno's best game ever. By far, I think he's going to want this one back. But boy, howdy did Ezequiel Barco show up, and I'm really, really happy Hyndman got his at the end.
So am I. It was Emerson Hyndman has a way of just missing chances that you feel like you shouldn't miss. And then he comes back at the end and scores a goal that, when you look at it in slow motion, you go back and look at that goal. First of all, I don't know how Jake Mulroney navigates the ball through that tight space the way he does. We asked him about it after the game, and he talked about just, you don't think about it, you just do it. That's runner-up for goal of the week if he pulls that off. But you go look at Hyman's finish. It's a lot tougher than the one he missed because he has a keeper and a defender bearing down on him, gets enough lift on it, puts it in that corner. That's a tough finish with guys trying to hack at you and trying to large human beings running at you full speed. It's a great finish. And it's a great result tonight against a Chicago team that, it's kind of like an old light bulb. When they get burning hot, they can just scorch. As we saw them in week 1, they come out and lay 2 goals in 11 minutes on New England, a New England team that a lot of us are high on. And then they just kind of turn off. There's still a lot of questions, I think, on that Chicago defense. But Atlanta, was fine. I wasn't thrilled with the officiating either. But it is what it is. I just thought it was called pretty loose, and then there were moments where it would get tight, and it kind of just felt a little uneven. I was glad nothing happened at the end of the game because of the way he managed the after play moment. So you see Mulroney get his yellow card for the shove, which I was fine with. Like, he shoves after the whistle. You want to give a card for that, I'm not going to argue with you. He gives Barco the yellow card for dribbling after the foul. It just felt like you're trying to control the game after the whistle, and I guess I understand what you're trying to do there, but didn't really do much in terms of when the game was actually going on. And I'm glad nothing came of it, but I was nervous about the last 10 minutes of this game about if Chapman's trying to control the game this much between the whistles. I was really wondering what's going to happen in the last 10 minutes, especially when it was a tight game, when it was 2-1 before you get the last goal. After super sub Owen goal puts Atlanta up top, which we got to talk about. Jake Mulroney might have gotten a touch of that ball. Just might have.
Hey, look, I think that the series of goals that Atlanta had, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. So the goal number 2, I have no problems with. I think, hey, you get that little bit of touch in there. Amen, baby. I think it was wonderful. But we do have to talk about the Chicago goal and how it went through like 3 defenders. I just believe that that's something that's going to get cleaned up. As a defender, it made me cringe. It made me roll over in the seat. There were people around me who started questioning my physical well-being after witnessing that goal. It was a series of mental lapses that you just don't want to happen. It's just something that it looked like there was miscommunication in the back, a couple of different ways, who was going to pick up the runner, and nobody picked up the runner, nobody picked up the ball. And when you have that happen, the ball's arriving in a very dangerous area. And with the lack of communication, the ball's going in the back of the net. And that's exactly what happened. And it's going to get cleaned up. I have no doubts about that. But it's really one of those ticky-tack goals that you don't want to let in. And Atlanta's response to that, I thought, was fantastic. The way that they kept going after the 50-50 passes, any sort of heavy touch from Chicago, Atlanta United was right there to meet it. Miles Robinson's ability to make adjustments anytime a Chicago player had a heavy touch and come up and distribute the ball back into the midfield, I thought was fantastic. There were some communication issues with the wing backs. One time Miles carried the ball up. You could see that he was looking for Mulroney or Lennon to meet him and distribute the pass to begin the counter. No one was there. Moments like that, again, it's early in the season. It is the system still being implemented. It could have been a communication issue. Players could be dropped too far back and not recognize that their responsibility, whose responsibility it was to go forward in that. I understand. It's just something that's going to get cleaned up. But if we have to be ticky-tack about a 3-1 win, that's something I'm going to be ticky-tack with. Outside of, obviously, the officiating being just booty and not remotely. It was just terrible. The officiating was terrible.
I'm sorry. Nick, booty?
It was booty.
It didn't kill the game. Actually, the officiating this weekend, I've been very happy with overall around the league, and I think this has been a really good advertisement for VAR. Especially, you go back to whatever the actual hell happened Friday night in that game. You went to VAR like 4 times, but you got it right. It was efficient. Yeah. It was quick. You got calls right. So it's kind of one of these things. I want to turn the periscope to England and go, everyone else is doing it right. So you want to get up in the morning and watch games on Peacock and complain about VAR? Everyone else in the world seems to be having it working pretty damn well. It seems to me like this is a you problem, England, because Major League Soccer seems to be using it pretty well. They slow things down a little bit, like on the kickoff after a goal to do their quick check, but they're not going to the monitor every time. I think it's gotten a lot more streamlined, and I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the way things are working. As far as Atlanta's response to that goal, Atlanta kind of had like a Chung Lee reaction to when Ray Jackson kind of beat him up in the first Bloodsport, where Ray Jackson kind of lays that quick beat down at the start of their fight. And Atlanta just kind of turned into Chong Lee and was like, cool, George Bellows going to get way up the field. We're going to go score a goal now. And it felt like one-way traffic after that. Aside from Brad Guzan coming off his line and having the ball come off the post, aside from that moment, it just felt like, Atlanta's just decided they're going to go score goals now. And you're just in the way. You were an inconvenience.
Right. And the one thing that people are going to give Guzan so much grief about that, no one's giving anyone more grief about that than Guzan himself. He knew that he ventured a little too far out into Neverland, and he almost got burned for it. But in a system like Atlanta United, where you will be pressing, where you will have the team moving up, the keeper has to occupy almost a sweeper role. And in doing so, you are going to come off your line more, and you will have opportunities for someone to send in one of those Hail Mary kicks and think, whatever you did, anyone out there before the game, congratulations, you helped guide the ball to the post. So well done. Consider yourself, you did your 17s, you did your part. The one thing that I really loved was watching both Lisandro Lopez and Joseph Martinez drifting all the way back to Atlanta United's own 18 to defend and to pick players up. and to keep that rotation working. And I think Atlanta United fans are starting to see that Gabriel Heinze system. It is almost total football, where you have, when you see Joseph Martinez drop all the way back to the 18, who is in that striker position, right? It's Emerson Hyndman. And so then Emerson Hyndman rotates out, Joseph rotates back in. There's a lot of fluidity. There's a lot of movement amongst the players. But the one key thing is you better bring the energy. And everyone brought it tonight. And Mulroney, look, he needs to go ahead and get a gif of that thing, of him just dancing in the box. He needs to get that and just have it a permanent, like just a machine that plays that gif nonstop and hang it on the wall at his house for all times. Because I don't know if he's ever going to have a highlight better than that. Had he just, like you said, Jarrett, had he finished it, it would have been absolutely top shelf, guaranteed goal of the week, goal of the year candidate. And, again, you can't, if you're complaining too much about a 3-1 win, you're being ticky-tack.
I mean, to be fair, it's not going to win anything because that Ezequiel Barco goal is going to win goal of the year.
Oh, yeah,
you just go ahead and write your hate mail because they're going to be better quote unquote goals out there. But man, this is Atlanta.
Yeah.
The fans are still undefeated on the polls. Ezequiel Barco hits a free kick into the wall, bounces off the wall, and then he cuts off his own player like a wayward 3-point shot, like he's just floating around the 3-point line like Steph Curry, steals the ball from a teammate one time, it ends up on his ass, doesn't even see it go in the net. And I mean, that's the kind of shot you see on highlight reels, y'all. That was amazing. He said he didn't even see it go in. He ended up on his tail. And the only reason he knew it went in is he heard the fans. That was the only reason he knew it went in the net. It was an absolute rocket.
And who did he run to? Ran right over to Joseph.
And you know what? People want to get salty about last year. Emerson Hyndman and Ezequiel Barco are the same guy scoring this year that they were last year. It might look different, but it's still the same guy scoring. So go ahead and stick that on your bagel and throw it in the toaster oven if you don't mind. The rest of it, man, like I said this at the time, when Jake Mulroney came from Hearts is a hot mess. John can back me up on this, that Hearts is kind of a hot mess, and they're a little bit better this year. They're going to get promoted back to Scotland's Premier League.
They're a lukewarm mess this year.
Yeah, they are. But, I mean, they lost a manager last year right before he comes over. Manager freezes Mulroney out of the lineup, sells the captain of the team.
And Budge didn't want to invest anymore. She kind of reached her end.
Yeah, she had. It was a really weird situation at Hearts, and looking at what he did there, I thought was unfair to what he could become. And if we're gonna be critical about what they put on the field last year, and a lot of people were, a lot of the pieces out there are the same ones. It might be a different person getting the energy up in Gabriel Heinze, and if you want to call that your X factor, I won't blame you one bit. But hey, Jake Mulroney was out there a lot last year too. He's out there a lot this year. Jake Mulroney's a problem. Jake Mulroney might not be a capital P problem in this league, but Jake Mulroney is the kind of problem that he's that guy, I think, and he can become that guy who you really don't want to see on the other side because, yeah, he's not a designated player, but he's going to harass you and he's going to be in the right place at the right time. There's a play early in that game where there's a looping cross in the box that one of the Chicago defenders, I think it might have been Calvo, gets his head on and flips it out for a corner kick. If he hadn't done that, Mulroney had made that late run to the back post that we saw Julian Gressel make so many times. That I think he has a chance for a tap in there. If he feels like he should have had 2 goals tonight, I won't disagree with him on that. He is young. He will continue to get better, and he has clearly shown them something in training for them to give him these. I shouldn't say give. He's in the same thing that Jack Gurr tonight getting there. He's not being given an opportunity. They've earned their opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean, let's even go back one step further in the Hyndman goal, where who started the play? You mentioned folks who are going to be a problem with Jake Mulroney and speed. Jurgen Damm on the right-hand side creating problems and issues, and when you think that he's not going to get there, he gets there. Then he keeps going and he cuts it inside, gives it to Mulroney. Mulroney does his do-si-do, and then it goes to Hyman for the follow. So you have problem number one with Jurgen Damm, problem number two with Jake Mulroney, and then Emma with the dunk nick at the end.
Yeah, in boxing, they call it an eraser, right? That one thing that can erase a lot of mistakes. If you have a boxer who has that one punch, no matter how much they get hit, no matter how much damage they take, with one punch, it erases all the problems. Jurgen Damm's speed is an eraser, because you can have moments where you need to move forward quickly. You have a ball that looks like it's getting ready to go out of bounds, and all of a sudden he hits another gear. And yes, we all made jokes about the crossing, right? Even he made his own joke about it in his first TikTok video on his way coming to Atlanta. The man's an eraser. He erases a lot of problems for you on that right side, and it's a fantastic competition that Atlanta United has right now, where you can plug in guys, one after the other, who like Jarrett said, are problems. and it's if you want to have one good problem with this team, is there's depth all over the place except for the striker position. And Lisandro Lopez has scored, and Jarrett, you told me earlier at the game, Lisandro Lopez has scored in pretty much every tournament in the Western Hemisphere. If outside of like the U.S. Open, the Gold Cup, outside of that, the man scored in it. It's going to come, and I know that people are going to point to, well, he hasn't scored yet. Look, he almost had a flicker from the head earlier tonight that would have shut everyone up. But there's depth all over the field right now, and to have an eraser like Jurgen Damm there, look, man, you got to be thrilled. And John, you were right. His ability to find that gear, get that ball, and put it back into a dangerous position again, where it could then be worked in. Oh my God, it's just, you can't coach it, you can't teach it. It's just there. Either someone has it or they don't.
All right, Nick, let me ask you about what it was like, since Jarrett and I were behind rather thick glass watching the match against Chicago.
It's for our safety.
Yeah, for everybody's safety to stay away from me. But what was it like out in the atmosphere watching it, where there are actually 20,000 people watching a match? What was the atmosphere like?
It was, first of all, everyone, the mask goes over the nose, and please wear the mask generally. Like, yeah, whenever you are not eating or drinking, just put the mask on. My God, but that aside, I will say that it was fantastic to see the energy. Like you could see it, you could feel it, you could hear it, you could smell it. The energy was in the building, even with 20,000 people. When you go from nothing to 20,000. It's like going from a bar band to Iron Maiden. The volume was up there. You could tell that it affected the players. Like the first half, you could see the nerves were there. And everyone was into it. Everyone was pumped up. Everybody was involved. I think there's going to be a lot of things that need to be worked out. As far as some of the flow, people are trying to refigure out. So a lot of people in rookie mode tonight. I need you guys to kind of get that straightened out before the next match. But outside of the mask issue, I would say that it was just a gift to be back in there with the crowd. It was a little nervous. I will say that it was awkward. And I may get heat on social media for saying this. It was awkward to be back around that many people again. I will say that.
We haven't done it in a year, so I mean,
right.
Just awkward doesn't necessarily mean bad. Y'all don't got to read.
No, it doesn't mean bad. It was awkward.
Done that in a year.
It's like, am I supposed to talk to you guys around me? Like what What do we do here? I'm used to having just a TV in front of me. This is strange. Like, these are new scents, and it's like when you bring the dog into the dog park for the first time. The dog's like, hold up, wait. Do I get to play with all these dogs? Like, what's happening here? So but you could just tell, like, the players, even the Chicago players, when they walked out, you could tell that they had that, it was that they felt it. Atlanta United felt it. It was just the involvement was there, the Viking clap, the chants, even the ones that the supporter groups get static for because it's repetitive as anything. It was magical to hear it and not being digitally pumped through. It was just, the vibe was fantastic. So shout out to everyone who helped make that happen. The Mercedes-Benz staff, as always, top flight.
That's what you did there.
You know what I'm saying? Look, they're always top flight. I will say for this, if you did not come to the home opener tonight, and you were looking to come to either the CONCACAF Champions League game or any of the other ones, they have a new system with concessions. Very important. You must order your food in advance on your phone. So you download the Atlanta United app, you place your order, just like you would like an Amazon order, right? Add to cart, add the chicken finger basket, add the bottled water, add the adult beverage, and check out. And then you get a text that has a 4-digit code in it. You walk up, you wait in line just like you normally do. You go up to the counter, you give them the 4-digit number, you get your food. So just know that for next time. Because there was a lot of people who were like looking at the whole situation like, what do I do with my hands? Like, what do you mean I have to order through my phone? It's better for everyone. It was a very efficient process. Just buy in. Just buy in and make it work. But again, the whole staff from beginning to end, they're always fantastic. No doubt on that tonight. So to everyone who made this happen, thank you. To all the doctors who've been vaxxing us like crazy, the National Guard troops have been associating with them, thank you. And we saw the soldier tonight who hammered a golden spike. I certainly hope he was with the vax team because you guys are making it happen. So thank you.
All right, so let's go through social media and what folks were saying on Twitter. And I know that this will come as no surprise to either of you, but a majority of the comments were about Alan Chapman this evening.
So well, that's shocking.
Yes,
they know the show. We're 2 weeks in. Nick's done 2 shows. This is my first one, and they already know the format. I'm so proud of all of you.
All right, so Tom Russo, the airborne DJ. That's how he starts. Mm-hmm. We've seen some bad refereeing in our time, but this clown might take the cake as the worst we've ever had. Just pathetic. It's a stain on the league. How this happens in this league is a tragedy.
I think it's a bit of hyperbole myself. We've seen worse, I think. We've seen Baldomero Toledo in this building, so I know we've seen worse. I just didn't like that it was so inconsistent. It didn't end up impacting the game, didn't cost you anything. Yeah, man, it can be better. It can absolutely be better. And and the next time Joseph gets fouled, like I hate to tell y'all, if you play for another team and you foul Joseph in this building, that's going to come with a welfare check.
You're going to hear it. You're going to hear it.
Yeah. Everybody's going to let you know that you fouled him.
Yeah. Look, you can be tight with the calls and you can be very loose with the calls, but just be consistent. That's all I ask.
Which Alan Chapman was not.
No, he was not. Remotely. And here's another thing. Joseph... Everyone in this league, Joseph Martinez is a Golden Boot winner. Everyone in this league knows how dangerous he is. So they are going to try to mentally affect him every game. I guarantee you, for the next 8 games, anytime Joseph gets the ball, he's getting put on the ground because they want him to get in his own head about getting hurt. Oh, I got to be careful. So then maybe you're not quite as... You're not moving with quite as much aggressive intent as you would previously because you don't want to get hurt. They're trying to get in your head. The referees must must be all over that. You cannot allow the stars in this league to get thrown around like rag dolls. And because, the dark arts and whatever, I am the greatest proponent of the dark arts you will ever find, but the officials must be on it. And the way you are able to police that is through consistent calls. That's it. Consistent calls. If the players know right now, hey, look, the way with stuff, we can take this dude out, but that probably means that our guy's going to get taken out as well. We know what we're working with. If it's inconsistent and it seems to be going like 60-40, 60-30 in our favor, put that dude on the ground. And that's what happened tonight. You had Barco getting put on the ground. I know that people give him grief because he hits the ground with relative ease. He earned a lot of that tonight. And Lennon getting absolutely free safetied out of nowhere and have that no card.
To it.
Have no card. The Seahawks are calling that Chicago player right now and ask him if he wants to enter in the NFL draft.
I think it was Jonathan Bornstein, if memory serves. Yeah,
you are correct. It was Mr. Jonathan Bornstein. Look, violent Inferno. That's all I got to say. But look,
don't get fired.
Yep. So you absolutely cannot take a player out like that and not get a card. You can't. And for that to go uncalled, like, free kick, okay, that has to be a card. And because the Chicago players knew that they were going to get away with this stuff, and that's why they did it. Players aren't stupid at this level. Well, some are. But most players know that if you go and you do really dumb things like that and you get your team in card trouble early, it changes the entire game. It changes your ability to press aggressively. It changes your ability to physically get involved in the game. And the only reason they do this is because they know they're going to get away with it. That's on the official. That's not on Atlanta United. That's not on Chicago. That is on Chapman to make that call and say, it's a straight yellow, and go up and get all the players that are in earshot and say, I should be giving you a red. It's a yellow. Sniff somebody like that again, and I'm telling you, you're getting a red, you're out of here. So I get that it's early in the season for everyone. It's early in the season for the players. It's early in the season for the officials. But the officials must understand that there's a standard of play that must be kept up. And if Chapman can't keep up, there's plenty of lower division games for him to go and get repetitions in, and he can try his shot at MLS again. But obviously, the stage was a little bit too large for him tonight.
All right, 2-minute warning. Let me go through the rest of what we have here on Twitter, and you guys can wrap up with whatever you see fit. Eric Hunter, how about the fouls to yellow card ratio? It's too bad Chicago won't get a chance to foul 30 times so they can finally earn a yellow. Great work today getting chances, goals, and results. Can't complain too much about that. Jason Heinley, South Georgia United. So excited for the win. Noticeable pace changes when Lennon subbed out, and then again when Joseph came on. Hope Lennon is okay. I think he's very important to our season. Larry the Cucumber is in. Don't know why Larry was referred to as a cucumber, but shades of 2017 in this team. Looking forward to the ups and downs. Thank you. Of this season with zero expectations other than it being a wild ride. A lot of folks were discussing fantasy, which was important to some of us in the fantasy league. Who took my thrash? We'll wrap things up. Is there anything to be salty about other than persistent fouling by Chicago? Overall, the play was very good throughout. The press up top is creating the opposition, making long, hopeful passes. In the second half, Robinson, Walks, and Sosa just were stepping up to intercept those and turn play. Is this the team mentality showing its result already? Jarrett, what do you think?
Anton Walks deserves a lot of credit. Don't know if he's going to get it, and I don't think necessarily it's a matter of people refusing to give him credit. I think it's you're next to Miles Robinson, who's one of the best young defenders in this country, and should be forcing his way into the national team picture sooner rather than later. And Sosa's just stupid good. But Anton Walks is doing a bang-up job stepping into this role.
Mm-hmm.
Quick, strong. Honestly, when I think back to some of the games he struggled with back in the day, it was games where there's crosses in the air, he loses his man, and that doesn't seem to be happening as much. Now you'll still have your moments here or there, but Anton Walks is learning more than anything, and to me, that's a huge plus for him as he continues to learn and continues to grow. Brooks Lennon absolutely is vital. We called this back in the day when he came here. I mean, when he was in 2018, when there were rumors that Atlanta tried to acquire him at the deadline from RSL, and they said no. That's a guy I would have taken then. Brooks Lennon can absolutely be in the national team picture. The dude's endurance is set to 99. He puts in a really good cross, better one-on-one than I think he gets credit for. He's done, I think, everything you could have asked of him, and he's done a great job. This team will continue to get better. And as far as that defending goes, and Nick, I'll toss this over to you. Defending is great when you've got guys like Miles Robinson and Anton Walks. It doesn't start with them, though. It starts with Lissandro Lopez, with Joseph Martinez. It starts with Jurgen Damm, with Jake Mulroney and his psychotic ass. It starts up top, works through the midfield, and comes back to the back line. You defend starting up top, and you're setting the pace, and you're setting the stage with physicality and ferociousness. You don't let them walk into the back line. You make them crawl through the damn briar patch to get through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mike Conti said it on Twitter. He said this game could have ended 5-4. He's 100% correct. The defending tonight, there's work to be done. I want to make that very clear. However, that doesn't mean that Walks and Robinson were terrible and Sosa. What it means is that's part of this. When you have your entire team pressing and attacking and working to the goal, there's going to be gaps. Those gaps can be exploited. They're going to have to work through that on the training ground and say, okay, how do we limit those opportunities? They will still present themselves. Understand it's going to happen. However, Walks, you nailed it. Phenomenal job this evening. Really can't say too much bad about him. Miles Robinson, he's another eraser for you. His ability to recover, his ability to close ground. He turned a couple of balls that I think a lot of other center backs would have allowed that forward or that attacking midfielder to kind of close on and regain possession of. He turned those into 50-50 balls, which he recovered. You can't ask much more from your center backs than that. So very pleased with the work rate tonight. Yes, it could have been 5-4. We got out with 3-1. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Hate it for you, Chicago.
Had wings, they wouldn't bump their ass when they jumped. So
that's exactly right.
It means nothing to me.
That's right. And while we're getting onto these obscure Southern terms, Atlanta United's midfield is working harder than a three-legged dog trying to bury a pile of poop on a frozen pond. So with that, the work rate's there. Gabriel Heinze absolutely launching himself into the air. I love it. The passion is there. The energy's there. Whether you're watching at home or whether you were in Mercedes-Benz tonight, we could feel it. So nothing but happy joy feelings on this end, except for Alan Chapman, who needs to go and immediately see Dr. Jonathan Wolfson at the LASIK Eye Center and get his eyes looked at, because that man needs work. Wolfson Eye Institute, get on the phone and call this man immediately.
That's Nick. That's Jarrett. I'm John. That's your takeaways from Atlanta and Chicago. Victorious Atlanta United over Chicago. We'll catch up with you next time with takeaways after Philadelphia. We will see you on Monday. Mucho Platio.